This is my 1966 Chevy 90-inch wheelbase van. It's a window van. Obviously doors are off right now for the work that I'm doing. If you guys have checked it out before, you'll know that it's got a lot of custom parts. A lot of one-off stuff that I've done. I grafted an S10 front suspension into it. Has S10 or G-body brakes, up your tubular arms, airbags, and then a Mustang 2 rack and pinion. All the aeroid solenoids are all tucked up underneath the front end here where the radiator's laid back. I'm going to end up putting a fitting coming out of the top of the radiator for the upper hose instead of using the original hose, and then it's going to come out this side and go up underneath the doghouse, which eventually will be all bolted down and whatnot. I shortened the original doghouse that would have been in a 69. So there's a Chevy 350 Suburban fuel injected, throttle body injected motor in here, backed up by a 700R4 trans. Still have to get the drive shaft made. I have the drive shaft, is just obviously have to shorten it. It's only going to be about 16 inches long. You can see the exhaust goes up and over the axle, down and out the back at an angle on each side. Same thing, I did all the rear suspension as an S10 rear end that I went ahead and four-linked, and used the front of the four-link to go through and attach the cross member for the transmission to, and then that's the exhaust. Those aren't glass packs, they're Flow Pros. They make a lot of diesel performance exhaust. I did it for a small area that I had, and then I did an H-pipe behind because otherwise with how low it sits to the ground it would have been an issue for the exhaust to sit low to the ground. Once it drops down, it's only about an inch off the ground. It's kind of a theme that I had for the van, the Vantastic Voyage. Here's where the exhaust comes out of the back. So I'm going to attach a pipe that goes through this, and then it's probably going to come out behind a bumper that I'm going to make for it. As you can see, I took away the lower valance in the back. I'm going to go ahead and put a receiver in there, and it'll be hidden behind the bumper. See, the gas tank's been raised slightly, and it's got a fuel injected Chevy gas tank in it, and then I'm going to graft in a new filler neck, and I'm going to use the door I have here, the hinge door on this side, and eliminate where the original one was. The wheels, I don't know if you've seen, but they should look familiar. They're from a 2010 Camaro. But what I did was I cut and reversed them, so the inside of the wheel is now the outside, and vice versa, and that way it gave me more offset, brought the wheel out quite a bit, and then I had the center board to match the S10. The bolt pattern's real similar. They're a couple millimeters different, but it works. Doesn't hurt anything, and they torque down, and another guy that did them on an S10 said that they worked out great. Alright, well, I'm going to show you it in action. Basically, that's the whole setup. The steering, by the way, is like a flaming river, basically, and I cut and shortened it, and then put a gear changer, basically from a 94 Isuzu Rodeo, and it goes back and goes into the rack and pinion back there. Oh, and last thing, I have a compressor on each side and a tank on each side. There's another one hidden underneath the floor on the other side over here where the battery box was originally. And then I'm going to go ahead and mount the battery, small battery like this, up underneath on each side. That way I've got equal weight distribution, and I've got ample batteries for extra energy. There's 3 tanks in the vehicle altogether total. The 2 5-gallon underneath the body, and then another one right in the front, a chubbier one in between. Alright, Let's go ahead and see it in action. That's basically it. Show you one other thing. There's a brake booster. I don't know if you noticed it up underneath the dash here. And I've got to shorten the pedal a little bit, but the pedal is all set up. It's a 90-degree setup. And it all works. I've got it all up and working today. Alright, well, next thing I got to start figuring out the air conditioning. That's pretty much it. It's going to have power steering, power brakes, air conditioning, and lastly I think I might do suicide doors. Alright, keep in touch and comment if you like.